Good morning, Chatty Dogs. We're back again. We got 3 more pots coming your guys' way. So just remember, what you focus on grows. Feed them horses. Green off. Alright. So there's the intro for today. Camera C. We got a little, look at this little thing, dude. And bring down the hammer fist. Oh, somebody says hello, and then somebody said cringe. So funny. Can we talk some philosophy? Oh no. Camera B. So you're gonna grab your little llama here, right? Llama's just prancing around. Llama is gonna bite right on that rim. And when the llama bites on that rim, you know what llamas love? They always love volcanoes, right? So you're gonna first get your little llama pole into your volcano. Camera C. There we go. Alright, pottery shelf. Alright, there we go. Right to the bottom edge here. And so what we're doing was we're trying to define this little bump here, right? And we ask the clay, we say, hey clay, you got a quest for us? Then the clay always has a quest for us, right? And we thank the clay. The quest is we got to take this little bump, right? Do you see this little bump? And we got to bring it to the top of the vessel, right? Nice and slow. I always think about it. It's like a slug going to his next meal. Camera B. And you see it's starting to get a little bit ripply in that middle. I'm getting a little bit thin, but I'm not worried. I'm continuing that constant speed and pressure all the way to the top. And do you see that bump? I maintain that bump all the way to the top. I don't get freaked out whenever I see those little ripples and bumps, right? And there we go. 1, 2. And we're just going to slowly walk this up, right? And so you're going to see this twist start to form. And so these are my, most potters, they make pots that have been made for thousands and thousands of years, right? But for me, it's all about trying to find my own path in pottery, right? And so I call these my trees, right? Okay, so here we go. A little bit of water right on this top. And so right now it's thinner in all those little veins. I call it the veins of the tree, right? And so as I pull out on this top here, you'll see what happens. A little bit of water. And it's slowly going to twist up, right? You got to be nice and slow and consistent, right? Don't do too much. Kiss that rim, right? And there we got a tree, right guys? And so here I am bringing this up. Curl this up right on this edge here. And look at the way that we're just going to be interacting with this little ledge, right? So you'll see this one, this tendril is kind of like, right, almost like it's holding the head up of the tree here, right? And so I like when these things stop functioning as patterns and they start feeling more like appendages, right? I think that's kind of like a big thing about my pottery. Sometimes people will join and ask me, what's the biggest pot I've made? What's the most I've made in a short period of time, right? But for me, it's never really about that. What it's actually more what it's about is it's about the consistency now. I realize that consistency is really difficult, right? Because you're going to have days where like life just gets in the way at every single turn, right? And you hear your mind, your little, this is where the name pottery demon comes from. That little demon in your mind, it's whispering to you comforts, right? It's telling you like, you don't have to do it today, like, come on, give yourself a little bit of a break, right? And it's those battles that you have, right, that are the most important ones, right? But yeah, that's kind of my perspective on it. That's why I think consistency is always really cool. If I'm right down to the bottom, I'll curl this out. All right, so here we go. Camera B. Camera B. Grab your llama. And then you're gonna make a little volcano. Grab your knuckle, slowly push this in. Oh, sweet. There we go. Here. Define this little bump. Right? And that's all you do is you just walk this bump right up the top. Always remember that snail getting his next meal, right? He's hungry, but he's still patient. He's only going as fast as he can, right? Every time you're spinning the wheel at the speed that you're going, there's a limit, right? This is the second part of the live stream. Yeah. This is number 2. 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, and we want to leave some space. And we want to make sure these are as even as possible. Looks okay. And you're going to have your hands right on the interior here. I call this the spider pole, right? And you're slowly going to feed this out. And that tension going outward, right, is going to cause that spot right underneath, right, to twist up, right? And so that's kind of where I got this idea of them functioning like trees, right? I feel that clay, I feel like I plugged in a cable and like the data or the information that's coming from the clay is going right to my brain. I really feel like it's talking with you. It's just whispering to you as you're working with it, right? And so I think I really enjoy those moments. I actually hate ceramics, but I think it's really valuable, right? I think a lot of times you know, growing up in digital age, you know, we are most of our lives could be downloaded onto a thumb drive. So there's something about, you know, things taking up physical, tangible space that are the reflections and the memory of the hours that I put into it, right? I like that. I like looking around. I like holding an object, and it puts me right back to those moments, those hours that I spend on the wheel. And we're going to be slow on the bottom. And project that forward a little bit. And when we get to the top here, slow or speed up the wheel just a little bit. And there you go, right? And then the fun part about this, right, is you can just bend this forward right on that top and start pushing down with your chicken wing of your hand. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But you can see, and wherever that starts to really wobble and bend, you just lower your hand to that area, your right hand, right? And you allow that left hand to really start controlling where that clay is going. And you can see smooth, consistent pressure. As long as your smooth, consistent pressure is going to stick right on center, right down to the bottom edge here. And you see how I'm not letting it fold over? I'm allowing that clay from that interior to feed into my hand until it pushes that out, right? So then I'm not folding any water underneath here, right? I was just happy to be on the wheel. And I started and I sucked ass. I was terrible. I was really, really bad. But then, you know, I had this idea where I was going to make a mug for every single, you know, one of my peers, right, in the school. And so I made like 800 and something mugs. And that's all I asked for. One of the mugs was a 1-minute audio recording of your coolest memory. And then I made a website that kind of linked them all together, right? And I had a QR code on the mug so you could see the audio recording, right? If you go on my YouTube, you'll probably, if you scroll back far enough, you'll see some of the clips from that, right? And then, you know, I think I just started getting way better at throwing because of that, right? So here we go. I want to build my own machine. How about that? All right. So this is number 1, or well, this is number 3, but we'll have this in the front here. Camera A. How do we like this? This is the one that I just finished. I think that this one has a pretty even collapse all the way around. It hasn't torn yet, and I really like the way that the tendrils are interacting with the vessel. They're teetering on functioning like a pattern, but they're starting to act more like appendages. So I'm a big fan of how that one's looking. If I go to this one right here, this one totally collapsed over on one side, but I like the way that you can kind of see this interior, or this almost the veins twisting up right underneath, right? Almost looking like the gills of a mushroom where the spores kind of get released out. And so I think that kind of looks a little bit nicer. The pedals on this one were an odd number pedals, so one of them is a little bit janky, but I think you can't really tell just because there's a lot of moments where it's a little bit wonky, right? So I think it allows for those sort of things to happen on the bottom there. And then we got the one on the top, and I really like the way that, the top, when they dip down, right, it almost acts as like the rim starts acting as a framing device for that interior spiral.